Let's focus in on that interview we told you about before we went to the quick ad break. Tonight, Amajita will face off with Colombia for a place in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. It's the first time that the team have made the knockout stages since 2009. The run of South African youth teams has been impressive in the last couple of years. The Under-17 team won the COSAFA Championships. Amajita won the Continental title, so they're competing on the global stage as African champions, and they have been impressing at the World Cup. Thabo Senong is the former South Africa Under-20 coach, former Bafana Bafana assistant coach, and he's deeply involved in the development of football and can give us an understanding behind the kind of talent that we're actually seeing coming through the ranks. He joins us now. A very good morning. Welcome to the AM Report. Thanks so much for making some time for us.
A very good morning to you, Velen, and to our viewers back home. And yeah, it's a good day, especially with youth football, and congrats again to Amajita. They must continue to make us proud, but I mean, you just mentioned how there's progress in our development. Credit to SAFA and also credit to the youth coaches on the ground. Tournaments as well, youth tournaments like Engine, who are committed, you know, to sponsoring this youth tournament, and that's where the Amajita head coach, Raymond Daka, sources and scouts talents, and we have to say that the future looks bright for Bafana Bafana, because we're talking about a team that were crowned COSAFA champs, CAF champs in Africa, and now they are making us proud in Chile.
Yeah, and I believe that the Engine Champ of Champs tournament is actually going to be taking place this coming weekend, where all the different regional champions then go up against one another. So, I mean, you know, SAFA has its fair share of problems. What is going on the ground that is kind of seeing this grassroots development coming through?
I mean, it's a fact that we have talent in abundance in South Africa from different provinces. The issue or the challenge has always been scouting, giving that talent a platform to play, and that's where Engine comes in to make sure that they organize provincial tournaments sponsored by Engine, and then the provincial winners come to play Champ of Champs. So it's basically a national tournament, where now national selectors are available to make sure that they get some players. For both actually genders, for females as well, you find the likes of Basitsana head coach, Coach Mott Kumalo, coming to scout some talent. So that's for me what I feel has helped South African youth football to progress forward, because you cannot progress without developmental tournaments, but you cannot progress without sponsorships. And thanks again to Engine, because the tournament now is running for 23 years, and thanks for their continuous commitment.
Okay, so we definitely do need the people behind the game, but let's actually speak about what our team have been able to do and what Raymond Daka has been able to do with this young side in winning the African title, in going all the way to the knockout stages. You know what it's like to be in that seat, to work with these young boys, the under-18s, the under-19s, to get them to perform at the highest level. What do you think has been the magic that Coach Daka and the technical team have gotten right with this specific group of players, some very, very special players?
Yeah, the scouting, the recruitment of players has been excellent, and also the work at youth level with our respective PSL clubs has been excellent. The reserve league is very active. We have LFA leagues that are also going on to help development. So you can see that the players are much, much better developed. But then also you could see that there is continuity. Coach Raymond Daka has kept the core of this team, 85% of the players that won the COSAFA in Mozambique, and the same players that went to go win the CAF championship. So now it's just maybe a couple of players that are excluded. The likes of Mbegezeli Mbogazi is not part of the team, but the core of the players are still there. And so for me, I just feel that, and we all know that they were in a very tough group, you know, against France, USA, but they made us proud. And we have to rally behind them because this is a group that can graduate into our under-23 and maybe in the next 3 years eventually become Bafana Bafana players.
Yeah, it's also really important that they get an opportunity to even go overseas. I mean, we've seen these young boys. I'm thinking of Zigidi. We've got Shaquille April. April's an interesting one. I read an article that he actually, even though Cape Town City were relegated, he wants to stay at the club because he actually wants to engineer a move to Europe. How important is it that these boys get an opportunity to actually play at bigger, perhaps European clubs and get that opportunity as well, especially at this time in their career?
Yeah, I mean, it is a fact that European clubs are slightly ahead of a lot of teams around the globe with regard to educating youth players, with regard to progress of the game itself. So it's important for African countries, South Africa in particular, to make sure that we export our young talents as early as possible. Because you remember how it had helped Bafana, the likes of Benny McCarthy, Stephen Pienaar, they left the country so early in their age. They were in their, somewhere in the early 20s, but Benny was around 18, 19, and you can see the impact that it has made him. So the education is very good in Europe, so we want to see more young players playing in Europe. Now we have the likes of Lyle Foster, we have the likes of Tylon Smith, but it's important that we have more players so that it's a huge pool that gives our Bafana coach possibilities to always select the best team that will represent Bafana.
Do you think that there's that similar understanding from the PSL teams, giving players that have come through their youth ranks and their youth academies, also giving them an opportunity perhaps to also go overseas?
Yeah, and credit to the reserve league, you know. It's not only youth tournaments like Engine that are helping to lay the platform for the players, but also the reserve league has been active. And if you look at the reserve league teams, DDC, they are very close to their respective senior teams in the PSL. And the coaches also have been very brave to give the young talents the chances that they are playing. I mean, the likes of Shaquille April, they've been training with Cape Town City. So, you know, getting young players to train with senior players, that fast tracks their development physically, tactically, technically, emotionally as well. So just bridging that gap between our youth and the senior team has really accelerated the development of football in SA, and I'm not surprised that we see progress in our junior national team, Amajita in particular, and even Amajimbos, the under-17 national team.
Yeah, I almost wonder though, like with the game at the moment, whether at your under-20 level you shouldn't have already made that move over to Europe, you know, for a lot of our guys, if we're thinking from a South African perspective.
It's a little bit tough, challenging, especially if you look at the South African market, what has been a challenge for us to export players, because you look at our structures, our league is probably one of the best leagues in Africa. The compensation, the incentives for players is much better than other parts of the continent. So that means there's a lot of investment from clubs into the youth programs, into the talents themselves. So probably that will also increase the price of the player consent when there has to be exportation, you know. So, and also you look at how our players are really growing financially as well, which is very, very important. So it's becoming very, very competitive because we're competing with the likes of West African regions, Ghana, Nigeria, to export young talents. Of course, we're competing with talents from South America, Chile, Brazil, Colombia, and so forth. So, and trying to penetrate one market, which is the European market. So we have to work hard on the ground to make sure that we scout and produce exceptional young talents. And we have to make it possible with all stakeholders concerned, be it agents, intermediaries, clubs, make it possible and so easy to make sure that there's a quick, effective transition to get these young players out of the country so that they get accelerated better education and better competition at the global space, so that we can have a huge pool of South African players playing their pride abroad.
Yeah, it certainly will benefit the country. Thabo, thank you very much. We're looking forward to tonight's match. We wish South Africa all the best of luck. They go up against Colombia, the African champions, looking for a spot in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, currently underway in Chile. Thabo Senong used to be the coach of the team, heavily involved in developing football talent for the future and for our country.